Kahapon po nung naaresto nga si former President Duterte, marami pong mga reactions, usually from yung mga naging kritiko niya noon pang nakaraang administrasyon. Marami rin po na mga dati niyang kaalyado ang nagsalita against, parang in favor of the arrest. What took it so long for the people or for his former allies to realize that there were abuses in the drug war? Was it just because information was not available before, or politics? Ano pong sa tingin niyo, sirs?
Well, syempre, ang unang-una talaga dyan, politika, takot, saka nag-aalangan talaga. Pero sabi ko nga, iba yung hugot nila, lalo po yung mga naging biktima, yung mga apektado nito nung earlier parts of his term. Kasi sila po yung mga direktang tinamaan, yung mga victims, yung mga naabuso. Kaya makikita nyo po sa social media, iba talaga yung hugot nila. Sabi ko nga, kami, tinitingnan namin to as parang normal na proceeding in an international venue na wala naman pong in the interest of fairness. Kaya nga po nasa korte ka para once and for all maipagtanggol mo yung sarili mo at i-defend mo rin yung sarili mo para makita natin kung anong resulta at anong hatol nga ng mga kasong ito.
I think paano natin mas nakita na lumaki o lumawak yung suporta, kung if any, ng shift ng support for the EJK victims. I think dahil din masasabi natin dahil din sa hearing ng Quadcom, nakita natin paano tayo nabudol at na-scam ng drug war against drugs, no? At na lahat yung totoong nangyari direkta mismo, hindi lang sa EJK victims but from some personalities that were involved in designing and implementing the war on drugs. I think that was an eye-opener in itself. Kaya na-realize nila na nabudol tayo sa war on drugs, nagkaroon siguro ng lakas ng loob o di kaya mas naliwanagan ang lahat na ang ganitong pangyayari kung saan ginamit ang buong puwersa ng Estado, the entire apparatus of state, to disregard the rule of law in order to achieve some goals other than what's legal, only find this step, itong pag-aresto kay dating Pangulong Duterte as part of our common pursuit for justice. Hindi na ho nalalayo doon Alangan naman pabayaan natin after lahat ng nalaman namin sa Quadcom at dun sa mga testimonyang ibinigay, hindi po enough na nalaman natin. Kailangan may mangyari, kailangan may managot, kailangan mabigyan ng katarungan ang mga namatay ng EJK.
Short lang, no? Kasi nung nagumpisa po itong Quadcom, talagang naging target kami ng fake news, pagpapalaganap ng fake news. Lahat po ng membro ng Quadcom ay pinagsisisira po talaga, lalo nung mga nandun sa kabila. Alam po kasi nila na marami pong lalabas at ma-uncover itong Quadcom. And now, sabi ko nga po, makikita po natin na the Quadcom is legit. At kahit anong fake news sa paninirang ibato nila sa Quadcom, never kaming huminto. Nakabase lang naman po kami sa mga affidavit, saka mga statements po ng ating mga resource person. At ulit-ulitin ko, ngayon, mas siguro nakikita ng taong bayan na the Quadcom is legit.
Okay, thank you, Gab. You may ask your questions. Elson Kismoria from Manila Bulletin.
Hello, Kong, dito po sa left side nyo, sa likod po. Just want to get your reactions po. Bale, ang sinasabi po ng mga kritiko nung pag-aresto kay dating Pangulong Digong, ang tunay na may pakana daw po ng pag-aresto ay ang gobyerno ng Pilipinas under Marcos. Ano pong masasabi po ninyo?
Well, ang una, hindi kami ang nag-file. Hindi ang Administrasyong Marcos ang nag-file ng kaso sa ICC. Yung mga biktima mismo. Ayan. Tapos yung mga kaalyado nila, yun yung unang punto. Hindi po natin masasabi yung administrasyon kasi hindi pa ho sila yung nakaupo nung time na final to. Pangalawa, hindi ho rin ang Administrasyong Marcos ang nagsabi na hurry up. Sila po yung nagmamadali, di ba? Sabi nga niya, bilisan nyo, baka hindi niya na maabutan, di ba? And from that perspective, you have to also understand na itong paghahanap natin ng katarungan, hindi naman one side lang to. Pwede din nating tignan to na pagkakataon sa isang legal na pamamaraan, sa isang legal proceeding, para mailahad din ni former President Duterte yung kanyang side, no? Kasi minsan sa mga pagdinig, alam naman natin, nadadala minsan ang mga tao sa mga kwento, sa mga statements. Ngayon, ang ICC, hindi mabobola ang ICC. Diba? Wala naman sila, they have nothing to gain from this eh. Hindi naman mga Pilipino ang mga huwes doon. They can be as objective as possible in determining the merits as well as the gravity of the case. I think that's what I'm looking at, no. Ako naintindihan ko totally ang frustration, ang hinanakit, ang galit ng mga nagsusumusuporta kay Pangulong Duterte, pero kung maririnig nyo rin yung sakit, galit at desperation ng mga biktima ng AJK, hindi po papantay doon.
Anybody else po? Yung Marcos government daw po may pakana ng pag-aresto kay Digong.
Fake news po yun.
That's it? Okay.
Okay po. Yes
Sir,
po, yes po.
Just to react on that, I guess it's unfair to accuse it to the present administration or to the Marcos administration. Again, yung timeline, tignan ho natin. Kailan na-file yung kaso? The case was filed during the incumbency of President Duterte. Diba? Doon nga sa kanyang implementasyon ng war on drugs, that's why we have these EJK victims. And the families of these EJK victims, walang naaasahan, walang ini-expect na hustisya dito sa ating bansa. And that is why they went to the International Criminal Court seeking justice. That case was filed during his incumbency. It so happens that the arrest warrant was issued at the time of Marcos administration. So, what will the administration do? Again, we are duty bound under our commitment, no, by being a party, a long-standing member of Interpol. Ginawa lang naman natin yung ating pong obligasyon under that treaty. Hindi po sila ang may pakana nito. It was the ICC who issued the warrant of arrest. And this administration only implemented and effect the warrant of arrest. So, of course, yun yung narrative nila, no? Hinahaluan ng politika. Siguro yun yung pananaw nila. But then again, it is clear that the Marcos administration has no hand in this case. It was the victims, it was the families of the victims of the EJ case who filed this case. Di naman kasalanan ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos kung nag-file ng kaso yung mga pamilya ng mga biktima. Again, the case was filed prior to this administration.
Hindi kasi nila i-blame yung mga EJK victims eh. They will try to make it political at i-divert nila yung issue. Sasabihin nilang Marcos administration, sasabihin nila na political yan, pinulitika kami. Eh bakit hindi nila mabanggit na yung naghain ng kaso is yung mga biktima ng mga namatayan, yung mga namatayan na biktima. So, di nila masabi siguro dahil nagigilty sila sa ginawa nila. Yun lang ang tingin ko dyan, kaya gagawin nilang political issue. dahil hindi kayang lumabas sa bunganga nila na yung mga taong namatay at yung mga biktima na yan, ngayon, nakakamit nila yung hustisya na matagal na nilang inaantay.
Thank you po. Bali, next question ko po. Si Vice President Sara Duterte po, sabi po niya, the ICC's arrest of her father was a blatant affront to sovereignty and also an oppression and persecution. Ano pong masasabi po ninyo doon given the context po nung sitwasyon sa West Philippine Sea nung pong Duterte administration?
Siguro yung statement magandang i-copy-paste tapos ang ilagay nila na issue tungkol dun sa West Philippine Sea. Perfect po yung sagot na yun pag na-copy-paste po tungkol sa West Philippine Sea.
Anybody else po? Sige po, anyway po, it's Digong's 80th birthday sa March 28. Baka may birthday message po kayo sa kanya.
Well, we wish him the best of health. I think any well-meaning person would want the former president healthy. Whatever is in his mind and his heart right now, I hope these things will be something that he would find peace in as he celebrates his 80th birthday. Yun siguro.
Okay, thank you, Elson. Next question from Pamela Vasquez of Radio 630.
Good afternoon po. Kay Kong Jill po, reaction lang po or parang yung pagkaka-aresto po ba kay dating Pangulo Duterte ay do you see it as an advantage for the House prosecution team at least po?
Advantage?
Being him, being the legal counsel of the Vice President.
Ano ba makukuha namin doon sa pag-aresto sa kanya? It's just that sila yung nawalan. Actually, yung respondent, si Vice President Sara Duterte. Kasi nawalan siya ng isang legal counsel. But for us, I guess wala naman pong epekto, no? Yung pagkaka-aresto. Because this is totally separate and distinct doon sa issue ng impeachment, no? We have to remember that the one who is being charged is the Vice President. And the subject of the arrest is no less than the former President Digong.
And then if I'm not mistaken po, kahapon nag-meeting po ulit ang mga House Prosecution panel. Any update po or developments po regarding the meeting?
Yes, this is part of our preparation. The prosecutors are meeting regularly. And of course, we have already assigned the prosecutors for each and particular article. And we already group ourselves based on the articles that are assigned to us. And again, we continue to study. There are discussions among public and private prosecutors. And until this time, of course, we are waiting for any development with regard to the impeachment case. But we just want to assure everyone that we're doing our best. We're studying this case. And we want to appear before the impeachment trial fully prepared.
And speaking of the private prosecutors, kung meron na po bang mga napili for, or kahit initial man lang po?
Yes, we have private prosecutors already, but it's not for me to divulge who they are. But in the proper time, no, malalaman naman po kung sino yung mga. No? And then, kasama na po sila sa aming preparasyon. No? We meet regularly, nag-uusap-usap kami. And of course, we strategize on how we will present our witnesses, including our documentary evidence.
Sa ngayon po kung may mga may other challenges pa po ba na na-encounter so far kasi nung nakaraan pong press conference with Kong Chua, ang sinabi niya po is yung possible tampering of evidence and yung well-being nga po ng mga witnesses. So ngayon, meron po bang other challenges na na-encounter ang panel?
Well, for us, that remains to be a concern. Again, the tampering of evidence, the probable witnesses to be presented. Other than that, probably, of course, the issue, whether or not to start the trial. Kasi andun talaga yung pinaka-main issue eh. Whether or not the Senate should already start the trial. No? So, it's not us we're saying that we have to conduct the trial now. It's the Constitution. So, that's our basis on why the Senate should already convene and sit as an impeachment court. And the trial shall start forthwith.
And then for my last question po, any Kongs po can answer. Hingi lang po kami ng reaction regarding nga po dun sa sinabi ni Vice President Sara Duterte kahapon sa ambush interview niya. Ang sabi niya po na, I warned you about the budget. I'm warning all of you about the election cheating. So parang pinag-iingat niya nga po yung public doon sa possible election cheating sa midterm election. So any reactions po?
This comes from an elected official who said she'll kill the president, the first lady, and the speaker of the house. I don't know if you can even dignify the statement with anything.
Ano lang yun, diversion ulit. Alam mo naman yung mga tactics nila. Pero hindi ko rin maisip kung paano siya mandadaya sa eleksyon. Paano niya gagawin? Eh, hindi naman siya tumatakbo. So baka may iba pa siyang plano sa mga kasama niya. So wala yun. Fake news.
Thank you, Pam. Milky Rigonan from DZRH.
Good afternoon, Congressman. To Attorney Bongalon, sir, mag-apply ba yung request ng pamilya ni former President Rodrigo Duterte for a writ of habeas corpus?
Well, I just checked sa social media. I guess it was Attorney Panelo together with his son. They filed a petition for writ of habeas corpus before the Supreme Court. So probably let the Supreme Court decide. No? This case is unprecedented. No? We have to remember, I guess, if I'm not mistaken, it's the first Filipino and a high-ranking public official who was subjected before an international tribunal. Hindi pa ito nangyari noong mga nakarang taon. So, we will let the Supreme Court decide on it, and we are confident that the Supreme Court will decide on this in favor of justice.
Thank you, Congressman Bongalon. Since wala pa hong paliwanag ang Office of the House Secretary General, pwede po bang ipaliwanag Kong Jude Asidre kung ano po ang protocol, kailan pa ba ng Travel Authority, if ever, sumunod si Congressman Paulo Duterte sa The Hague, Netherlands? Salamat po.
Well, yes po. Kahit nga po ako, pag binibisita ko asawa ko sa Thailand, kailangan ko rin ng travel clearance. Lahat po kami duty bound to seek for travel clearance kung ito ay personal trip, and travel authority if it's an official trip. I think there's no exemption to that.
Salamat po.
Thank you, Milky. Dwight De Leon from Rappler.
Hello po, good morning po. In your statements today, underscored the importance of the former president's arrest on an ICC warrant, highlighting this is about seeking accountability and justice for the families of the victims. Do you think that the Philippines under the Duterte administration made a mistake when it withdrew from the International Criminal Court?
I would not say that it was a mistake. I think it was a very convenient way for them to avoid accountability. They must have seen this coming, and clearly our withdrawal from the ICC has made it difficult for those who were pursuing the case at the ICC to make the government or the administration that time cooperate with whatever proceeding or investigation that was being carried out. So, sa tingin ko, hindi mistake eh. Ito talaga yung plano nila. Isa lang nangyari, mali ang plano nila.
Okay. Well, for me, again, it was not a mistake. Probably it was a belated reaction on the filing of the cases against the ICC. So siguro nakita nila na pwedeng manghimasok ang isang international criminal court. But the problem was the case was already filed. And the ICC already assumed jurisdiction. And even with the withdrawal from the ICC, wala nang magagawa eh. Nag-acquire na sila ng jurisdiction. In fact, the investigation has already started. And there are sufficient grounds to believe that the respondent committed crimes against humanity, specifically murder, in relation to the implementation on the war on drugs. So that's my take about it. It was not a mistake. It was a belated reaction on the filing of the EG case in anticipation for the ICC, which will come in to pursue him and, of course, charge him in the International Tribunal.
Kahapon po, Congresswoman Geraldine Roman said it's time for the Philippines to rejoin the ICC. What's your personal take po? Kayo pong tatlo.
Personally, I don't see any problem why we shouldn't, diba? If there is that step and if there is that initiative on the part of the administration, I would support it. But then again, this is a matter for the administration to decide. Senate naman ang nag-concur with treaties that we accede to. So, but on the part of the House, I don't think there. As a congressman, personally, I don't think, from the perspective of the House, I don't think there's anything na there's, kumbaga, kung ano mang stand namin, it wouldn't matter really because we're not the ones deciding on that issue.
I answered that that question siguro mga tagal na, 6 months ago na dapat talagang i-consider ulit na, I mean, it's just me. You should consider na rejoining. Not because of what happened today, but matagal ko na pong nasagot yun. Siguro, sabi ko nga, in cases na maulit-ulit mga ganitong problema, so meron pa rin tayong tool or meron tayong measuring stick for that.